Okay guys, in this video we're going to be taking another look about how to set up a holiday request form with Power Automate, Microsoft Forms, and of course Microsoft Planner. Now in this video this is going to be part 2. We've already covered this in quite some detail, so I will put a link to that in the cards just above. And again, if you're looking to see the entire process, check that video out first. This particular video we're going to be looking at a bit of a shortcut or a different approach to how to get your manager and their email address in order to actually notify them of your request for a holiday. So this is actually quite a simple process, pretty straightforward, but if you do not know how to do it, it can be a little bit confusing to start with. So as it's been called out quite a few times on the channel, I thought it was important that we just create this part 2 version of how to set these holiday request forms up, and specifically how you can shortcut some of the 365 options and actually go in through Excel into Power Automate and drive out those holiday requests. So guys, if you found it useful and informative, definitely do go ahead and give me a like. I really appreciate that. If you're new, make sure you've subscribed and you'll stay up to date with all those hints, tips, and tricks that we do here at That Office Guy. Right, let's dive into this in a bit of detail and figure out what's going on and how we can best get this job done. So the first thing we want to do is, obviously you can see loads of these, we've got 4 flows right now. And the one that we're talking about here is that holiday request. We're just going to come into the holiday request here. I've got this switched off because I don't need to actually use this one on this particular telnet. But what we're going to do is we're going to edit this, not the detail, but the actual flow itself. We'll go into the flow. And ultimately what we've got here is obviously a form that we've set up previously. Again, check out the previous video if you want to know the entire flow. But we've set up the form. It's called holiday requests. We basically just ask for when people want their time off and all that kind of good stuff. We then get the details of the request. Okay, so we need to know what the details are of the holiday that's being requested. When is it? What month? What day? You know, how many days you're going off, all that kind of stuff. And then this is the part that's causing a bit of conflict between different people out there, because ultimately sometimes your organization might not actually have 365 set up with line managers and employees actually married up already. And in which case, if you are unable to ascertain the line manager of the person who has populated the form, then there's no way of actually proceeding to approve the request. So what we want to do is actually shortcut this area here, okay, by bypassing the get manager function of 365 and dive into Excel instead. So the first thing that we're going to do, guys, is actually bring up Excel. So I'm just going to do that now, and we'll just bring this up here. So here we have Microsoft Excel, and what we're going to do is we're going to basically create a very simple what that get manager is doing. Ultimately, we want to get the manager's name. So we're going to go with line manager, okay? Then we want the employee, so we'll go with employee here. Then we're going to want the employee's email address. And now there's obviously lots of different ways of doing this. You don't necessarily need the address in the Excel document. The way I have this set up, I actually only use 2 columns. I don't bother with the email addresses, but if you do it this way with only column A and B, you're going to have to make sure that your names are spelled exactly as 365 has them spelled as well. Otherwise, if you're unsure whether or not you're getting the actual correct spellings of people's names, then the email address is going to be your best friend. Ultimately, you can have this as just the employee's email address, or have the manager's email address as well. So if we take the employee and move it over this side, and we'll put the email address for the line manager next to the line manager, and then we'll go ahead and put the email address over here as well for the employee. Now, obviously here we can go ahead and enter all the data. So I'm just going to go with, just going to say my name for a second here. So we'll just go and type my name in a couple of times, my email address. I'll just pop this in. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll copy this one down as well. Just grab that and put it down. Okay, now obviously the employee, now I'm going to just use my brother's name here. He'll hate this, but he can be my employee for the day. And what we'll do is we'll pop that in. Okay, so we have an email address for Chris as well, and we'll throw that down. Okay, so now ultimately we have a line manager, we have an employee, we have the line manager email address, and of course we have an employee email address. Now, this is not good practice, okay? So it's important that we actually have these listed out exactly as they are, because otherwise we've got 2 fields with the exact same header that would not work. So what we want to do here is just say line manager email address, for example, and then we'll put in here the employee email address. Okay, so now we have basically a list of line managers and employees. Now, obviously, this needs to be converted into an Excel table. Power Automate cannot pick this up if it is not inside an Excel table. So the first thing we want to do is just click anywhere inside our data here. We'll head over to the Home tab. The easiest way I find to do this is come over to the Format as Table. It doesn't just dress it up to look like a table. It actually formats it as a table, as the name implies. So we'll go ahead, just click on any of these that we prefer the color of. Doesn't really matter. It says, what is the data range? Well, it's automatically detected that it starts in column 1. Row 1 down to row 7 from A to D, and it's automatically detected headers, and we're just going to click OK. Now we have basically an Excel table. Okay, this Excel table, we have the contextual tab for the table design. Over on the far left-hand side, we have a table name. I'm going to call this basically a line _ manager. Okay, and then what that's going to do is allow me to bring this up inside Power Automate. Okay, so with this done, the next thing we want to do is actually go ahead and save it. So we're just going to basically click a Save As. We'll jump on over into the Office guy. We'll come over to that Office guy's folder here, go into Documents. And what we'll do here is we'll just choose a folder to save it into. So what I will do is I will save this into my general folder where I've got a few other things. So I'm just going to save it into the root of here, but make sure you save it into a nice, easy to remember location. I'll click on Save, and now that has been saved into my SharePoint for this telnet. Now, when it comes to saving this particular document, it needs to be either in your OneDrive, your ultimately your personal OneDrive that's associated with your email address, which in most cases will probably be the business OneDrive account, or alternatively SharePoint. Okay, it needs to be in one of those two locations in order for this to work. So with that done, what we can now do, guys, is actually jump back over into Chrome, and then from here, what we're going to do is actually basically start messing around with this flow and actually start bringing that data in, right? So the first thing we need to do is basically remove the Get Manager area. We don't need this anymore, so we're just going to head and delete this. It will give you a warning. Are you sure you want to delete the step? We'll click on Yes, we want to do that. And then we're going to go in between the Get Data Details and the start of the flow. We're going to add an action. Okay, and what we want is to get row. Okay, we want to get a row from Excel. And again, you get lots of different options here. Basically, you just want Excel Online for Business. That's the one that we want. So we're going to click that. It's going to then create a connection. It's going to sign us in. It might ask you for a password. It's unusual that it would, but if it does, go ahead and just enter that in there. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to choose a location, right? So from here, we can go ahead and find our OneDrive for Business, or we can go down to one of our SharePoint sites, right? So we obviously put this into that Office guy SharePoint site, so we can come down to that Office guy SharePoint site. We can click that. That's the location. We then want a library for this, so it's in the Documents. Okay, and then obviously we want to go ahead and find the file, which is inside our general. So we can click the little arrow here, and we can see the line manager file there. So we can click that. Okay, so far so good. The next section down here, we get the line manager table that we created. This is why it's important that we give it a meaningful name. Specifically, if your document has loads of tables in it already, you're going to want to be able to easily identify which table has the right data in it. So in this particular case, we're going to use the line manager, and then we're looking for a key column. So in here, what we're looking for here is actually the employee's email address, okay? Because this is the email address that was used to submit the form, okay? So the key value is the email address from the person who submitted the form. So we're going to come into here, and we're going to find our dynamic content. So hopefully you guys can see this. Let me just check to make sure you can. I'm kind of in the way. One sec. Let me move all of this out of the way so you can see what's going on. Let me put me over there. There we go. Okay, so over here we can obviously see that we have access to quite a few things, but ultimately what we want is the responder's email address, right? So the person who submitted the form. So we're going to head and put that in there. So now what we're doing is we're basically getting a row matching the email address from the key column, which is the employee's email address. What this will do is it will return the row data of the line manager of the employee. And because we put that line manager's email address directly in the Excel document, we'll be able to access the line manager's email address. So when we go to the next step, we obviously want to see the approval type. We obviously have a title, and all this stuff was preset before, so we know what that is. Here we obviously have the ability to enter an email address manually, but we're going to remove this because what we want to do is use the line manager email address from the get row data that we had earlier. So when we go ahead and put that in here, we end up with this scenario now where dynamically, no matter who has submitted the form, as long as their details and their credentials are inside the Excel document, we're able to find their line manager and send them the approval request. Inside the details, we can put all sorts of different details, from the first name, the last name, the start date, the end date, whatever is inside your form, you can put here as well. Again, you can add links and various other options. I'm not going to go into all the details of what you can do with a approval flow, but again, do check out the other video, the part 1 version, where we actually go through setting up this entire flow anyway. This whole video is part 2, just about how you can get around using that manager or get manager function from 365 and how you could do it yourself from using an Excel document. This works best if you've got a small team, anyone less than 100 people probably, where ultimately you're able to manage that list effectively. Obviously, you want to make sure that it is updated with newcomers and people who are leaving and all of that kind of good stuff. But if you're able to do this and you're able to manage a list of employees with email addresses and their line managers and all that kind of stuff, you can basically create and craft an approval flow and a holiday request flow for all of your employees. It makes it pretty slick and pretty straightforward in actually being able to, basically approve all their holiday requests in one screen. And obviously, Power Automate is fantastic. You can do lots with this. You can decide to put the holiday, once it's been approved, directly into an Outlook calendar if you want, or as previously discussed, we've obviously taken it and put it into a Microsoft Planner, so you can plan holiday accordingly. But again, even Microsoft Teams now has the approval app embedded into it, so now you can approve everything from Microsoft Teams as well. So lots of fantastic functions that you can get with Power Automate. This is one very good use case where you can build basically holiday request forms in Microsoft Forms, put it into Power Automate, get it approved that could be via Teams, and then of course go ahead and actually add the approved holiday directly into the line manager's calendar if you wanted to, as a basically as a request for a meeting or an appointment or something to that effect. And again, there's so many things that you can do. So guys, do play around with it. Hopefully you found this brief update useful and informative. If you have, do go ahead and give me a like. I really appreciate that. If you're new, make sure you've subscribed and you'll stay up to date with all those hints and tips and tricks that we do here at That Office Guy. With this said and done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.